I do want to kick things off with you, because how indeed has it started to gather strength this side of the Atlantic?
Right. I mean, there's a particular question I've been asking everyone is why now? Because this is not a new problem. YouTube has had this for years, and ever since the onset of ads. There's a couple things. I think one is the political climate we're in. There's a lot of sensitivity around fake news, around hate speech, around terrorism. The second is there's been this kind of a growing noise in the advertising industry about Google and Facebook and the control they have. And there's marketers been pushing for more uniform measurement standards and third-party audits. Now they're kind of seeing an opening and they're really seizing it.
I mean, breaking news at JP Morgan also following on, and they're taking ads off YouTube.
Correct. That was announced today, yeah.
So it continues to spread. Brian, first to you. Of course, you downgraded Alphabet, the parent company of Google, to hold on the news that it had affected the UK, but your worry was that this could have global repercussions. It clearly does. How much do you worry about the stock's performance going forward?
Well, I think it's subject in small part, if not major part, to headline risk from here. Namely, you'll see more brands demonstrating their concern and announcing that they'll also be pulling their ads from YouTube. And, unfortunately, so far, Google does not appear to understand the gravity of the situation. It's really, in some levels, mind-boggling, and on the other hand, it's not surprising because this is very googly, I guess. So, this will continue for a little while. They'll solve it eventually. But when I meant that the repercussions would be global and would have an impact on their business, it's not about the boycott per se. We'll never notice that. We'll never see it in the numbers. Unless this actually did persist for weeks on end. What is going to happen is that every advertiser is now going to have a conversation with Google that is not focused on what the strategy should be in using search to enhance brand building, not what the strategy is on how to think about moving money from TV into digital and into YouTube, not on how to shift spending into Google from Facebook or one way or the other. The conversation is all about brand safety. Google is completely on the defensive for the next 3 to 6 months in any conversation they have. That will have a meaningful impact in terms of their ability to expand the business at the pace that they would have with the large brands that are serviced by agencies.
Paul, let's take it out a step and let's look a little bit at, if you will, the display ad business and YouTube that it is affecting. This isn't the search business of Google. This isn't the major cash cow. How does this affect in advertising spend generally?
Right. Well, yeah, just for a little perspective, search, as you said, is Google's bread and butter. It represents about 3 times what is spent on video on YouTube. So search in the US is about $37 billion this year, and about 78% of that is on Google. So they're by far the dominant player. If you look at video advertising, that's about $12.5 billion. So again, it's about a third of what search represents overall, and Google has about 20% of the US digital video advertising business. So we are talking about big dollars. This does come at a critical time for Google because, as Brian was saying, they're trying to expand the conversation. They're trying to draw those TV advertising dollars. They're trying to present themselves as more of a haven for TV-style advertising. The search business is something that they've been doing. They know how to do. It will continue. They know it better than anybody else. But video is something that, certainly Google and YouTube have a major presence, but there are a lot of other players who are vying for those same TV advertising dollars. So the stakes are very high.
I mean, Mark, you've been nodding your head throughout, and Brian called this rather googly in perhaps their lack of reaction. We've heard from Eric Schmidt, we've heard from the Chief Business Officer, but why are they not reacting faster, or are they indeed not taking it seriously enough?
Well, I think, and just to be fair, Brian is probably the only analyst that's downgraded. I talked to other analysts that are sort of shrugging this off, like to his point that this is not going to be having a material impact on the revenue. And maybe there's not this expectations that this might change the caliber of the conversations. But Google's kind of weathered this before. The sense I get is that they're not really panicking, and maybe to Brian's point that they should be. I think that we have to think about the fact that a lot of advertisers don't have a lot of other options. I mean, as people have said, where else are they going to go? They might go to Facebook, they might go to Snap as a new emerging advertising channel, Verizon, AOL, but Google's really still the best bang for their buck.